Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is all things Vanderpump Rules, Beverly Hills, people being sued, demoted, fired, tattoos, divorces, it's a hot mess, and I am so here for it. So, before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So, with that, let's go. So let's dive into our first story, which is all about Vanderpump Rules Raquel/Rachel Leviss suing Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval for revenge, P word, revenge corn, eavesdropping, and invasion of privacy. So we have the details of the lawsuit, and then we're also going to talk about how Rachel is saying that Ariana knew about her affair with Tom, and it was all for a storyline and to save her spot on the show. Now, we're going to weigh in on whether you believe her or not, and I'll let you know what I think, but I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Do you believe Rachel when she says that Ariana knew about the affair and she's just pretending to be shocked for a storyline? Put it down below. So this is from Radar Online. It says Ariana Madix knew about Sandoval and plot saved her from chopping block. Raquel Leviss charges an explosive lawsuit. We'll be going interchangeably between Raquel and Rachel. She's the same person, different personalities. It is what it is. So Ariana Madix was allegedly aware of her boyfriend Tom Sandoval's affair months before the news of Sandoval broke, and so was the rest of the Vanderpump Rules cast, at least according to Raquel Leviss. RadarOnline.com obtained Leviss's explosive lawsuit filed in Los Angeles on Thursday against Madix and Sandoval. In the documents, she claimed Madix knew about the affair as early as fall of 2023 and desperately needed the plot twist because she was allegedly on the chopping block. Leviss said that she began sleeping with Ariana boyfriends of 9 years on or about August 10th of 2022, adding their affair continued as Sandoval's relationship with Madix further deteriorated. The ex-Vanderpump Rules star alleged that although purportedly secret, the affair was in fact well known to many cast members and suspected by others, and she and Sandoval were not particularly discreet. She claimed Ariana was tuned into their sexual relationship with Sandoval. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges, that Madix knew about it as early as the fall of 2022. She charged in the lawsuit, citing that in December of 2022, Madix scolded Raquel and Tom for being handsy in public, admonishing them to save the story for season 11. Leviss claimed at the time that Vanderpump Rules was facing an uncertain future as the show had grown stale. All right, I'm going to stop there and we'll get more into the article. Rachel, stop lying. In my personal opinion, I do not think Ariana actually knew that Rachel and Tom Sandoval were having a sexual affair and that she told them to, quote, save it for season 11. I think all of that is hindsight information that has come to light. Like, for example, in hindsight, yes, the Sandoval is what saved Vanderpump Rules. But do I think that Ariana knew about the affair? No. I don't think anybody really, quote, knew about the affair. I think that some people were aware. This is what I think. I think that Sheena and Lala and people like that had their suspicions and that they didn't have confirmation, but they all felt that something weird was going on season 9, season 10-ish. And I believe them when they said, we tried to talk to Ariana about it, and Ariana was living in her delusional la la land with Tom, and she sort of dismissed them the way she always does. I think that is all true. I don't think any of them are great enough actors to have pretended all of this. I really don't, So I think that Rachel's lawsuit, first, let me say this. I think her lawsuit in general is bogus and frivolous and needs to be dismissed and tossed all the way out. This is just another example of celebrities or reality stars or people with privilege, whether that privilege is money or fame or whatever you want to call it, that use the legal system just to get more money and more fame and continue their 15 minutes. Because there are people out there who genuinely suffer from revenge porn, where they're doing something intimate with somebody that they love and trust, and then that person betrays them and they spread that online or on the internet or social media or with their friends. And that truly is what it is. But this doesn't seem to be that. This seems to be because I do believe the story of how Ariana found out. The phone fell, she saw it, she flipped out, all of that stuff. I don't know how that is revenge porn. That's just me. I don't know. And as we already know, Rachel will go to court with somebody having fully on lied the same way she did to Sheena. So she's fully prepared to lie and fabricate evidence. We debunked the whole black eye scar on her face situation before. So to me, girl, bye. Like you're lying and you're reaching with all of this. All of this is a big, 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 big reach. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. It says Maddox in particular was reportedly on the chopping block, the docs read. In the absence of a sticky new storyline, there's every reason to believe Vanderpump Rules would have been canceled. Okay, that's fine. But that's the thing. Things can be correlated but not related. Is there a correlation between Vanderpump Rules being boring and about to be canceled, and then all of a sudden Scandal happens and it saves a show? Yes, that's a correlation. But it doesn't mean that they were actually causational, meaning that they caused Scandal in order to save Vanderpump Rules. Those are two different things. Levis said Maddox was aware of the pressures of Sandoval and both were heavily invested financially and reputationally in the show remaining on the air. Adding, by extension, if the relationship was already on the rocks and if Sandoval was intent on brazenly carrying out an illicit affair with another cast member, they had every incentive to leverage these salacious threads into the storyline Vanderpump Rules so desperately needed. Another reason why this doesn't make sense is because this didn't actually happen on camera. The whole big bombshell that happened when cameras were down. That's why cameras had to pick back up. So if they're saying, oh, they were all in on it and they were saving it for a storyline for the show, then how come Scandal broke when they were off season, when they weren't actually shooting for the show? Again, doesn't make any sense. Dun, 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 dun. As Radar Online reported, Levis sued her ex-friend and former lover for revenge porn, eavesdropping, and invasion of privacy on Thursday. She alleged Scandal recorded the illicit videos of her that Maddox found on his phone in March of 2023 without her knowledge or consent, and Ariana distributed them and or showed them to others. Levis also expressed concern there might be more footage of her, claiming that given Sandoval's apparent practice of secretly recording their video calls, Levis has every reason to assume there are additional illicit videos and or photographs of her that she has not yet seen. This is the thing. The only grace I will give Rachel is if it is true that Tom recorded you without your consent, then sue him. Go after him in like civil court, small claims court, girl bye. Sue him for eavesdropping or whatever the term is for what he did to you. But to bring in Bravo and NBC and Ariana and all of these others, because she's suing like a conglomerate of people. She's suing Tom Sandoval, Ariana, and Doe's 1 through 50, which means like et al, like everybody else involved. That could be Sheena, that could be Lala, that could be NBC, that could be Shed Media or Evolution Media, the production people. This is my thing. Nobody asked you to bust it open for Tom Sandoval. You did all of that on your own accord. Nobody asked you to sit up in Ariana's face and play like you're her friend when the entire time you're busting it open for her man. Whether they are in a bad relationship or not does not negate the fact that you busted open for your alleged friend's man. Doesn't negate it, okay? The only person, in my personal opinion, you should have an issue with is Tom recording you without your consent. That is it. Ariana picking up her boyfriend's phone and seeing you busting it open for him and her being shocked by that. Maybe she sent it to Sheena, maybe she didn't, but Ariana herself has said she didn't even watch the full thing. She called Sheena and told Sheena what happened. So this is my thing. Even if Ariana sent it to Sheena, and I'm not saying she did because she never said she did. I'm not saying she did. I understand that in the moment. There's no intent. And you need intent for a revenge porn. That's why it's called revenge, because baked into revenge is the intent to get back at, the intent to hurt. I haven't seen this video on TMZ. I haven't seen this video on Fans Only. I haven't seen this video anywhere. John Q. Public has not been privy to this alleged video. So are you suing her because in the moment she saw it and she's either sent it to Sheena or told Sheena that was it? You also sent your little cease and desist and Lala was like, send it to Daryl and it hadn't been spread around. So I'm confused as to your whole distribution aspect of this. Who and where was it distributed to? We haven't seen it. It's not on any, you know what I mean? It's not on anybody's Patreon. So what are you talking about, girl? What are you talking about? Have several seats. And this is the thing, Rachel. You went to this alleged mental health facility. And again, I'm not being disrespectful about mental health by any means. But you came out claiming like you were so changed and different. And to me, you're doing the same weird, bizarre, thirsty nonsense that you were doing ever since you were exposed as the weirdo that you are when you were busting it open for Sandoval. You got up on Bethany's podcast and you single-handedly ruined Bethany's brand. If I was Bethany Frankel, I would be really pissed because you single-handedly ruined her brand. Bethany is now canceling her Rewives podcast. That's a bust. Bethany can't ever work with Bravo again because of the whole lawsuit that she did with the Reality Reckoning on your behalf. So not only did you bust it open for Sandoval while you were cosplaying as Ariana's friend, but you single-handedly took down Bethany B. Because I don't know what Bethany's doing these days other than YouTube and TikTok. Shout out to that, though. I mean, she's fine. She has millions and millions and millions of dollars. She's fine. Bethany is fine. But what I'm saying is, Rachel, you need to shut up and sit down and have several seats. If you want to do your podcast, do your podcast. Everybody's got to eat. That's fine. But to me, it's these lawsuits have gotten out of hand. The Reality Reckoning lawsuit, Brandy's lawsuit, Leah McSweeney's lawsuit, now Rachel's lawsuit, Nini's lawsuit was a bust. Like, it's gotten to be too much. Lawsuits now are kind of punchlines. And it makes me sick for people in this country that truly have been victimized. And the only way I see Rachel as a victim is that Tom filmed her without her permission. That is wrong on every single level. Other than that, I don't see Rachel as a victim in any way, shape, or form. I'm not talking about the extremes of online bullying that has happened. That's obviously wrong. It should never go to extremes. I'm talking about in reality, world. She's not a victim by any means. And it just makes me sick in the same way she used the legal system to go against Sheena with the whole bogus, frivolous, restraining order. That was a waste of time. It just pisses me off because there are truly people in this world who really have been victims of revenge porn, who really have been victims of abuse and violence and all of these things who don't have the money, who don't have the resources, who don't have the support, who don't have the fame, that feels like no one would believe them and they don't have the resources to fight for themselves. And it pisses me off that people like this think that filing lawsuits it's like going to Starbucks and picking up a latte because you didn't get your way, because you're jealous other people are making money off of this scandal, because Bravo didn't give you the money you thought you wanted. You wanted. And that's another thing that's bogus. You said yourself on the Bethany podcast that you wanted to come back to the show, but they weren't giving you as much money as you wanted. So if you're this big old victim and they did you so dirty and all this revenge porn and eavesdropping, why did you want to come back on the show? I know for me, if I'm victimized by by someone or something, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. So yeah, and again, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Rachel. Just because you put it in a lawsuit doesn't make it the truth. I think you're lying. I think you're lying. Do I think the show was stale? Yes. Do I think Ariana could have been on the chopping block? Sure. But do I think that the entire cast knew about this affair and so did Ariana and they were all planning it for season 11? No. Because this is also another thing. Ariana's lawyers, if you're listening, take some notes. I'm going to tell you right now how we know Rachel is lying through her teeth. So when everything happened, and by everything I mean, Sheena and Rachel were in New York. They had just did a press tour for Vanderpump Rules. They had just gotten done with Watch What Happens Live, right? Ariana and Tom and the rest of the crew are in LA. Tom and the most extras, they're doing their little concert or whatever at Pump or wherever the hell it was, one of LVP's restaurants. That's when the phone falls. That's when she picks it up. And that's when everything happens. That's when she calls Sheena. And then Sheena says that that is when Rachel confirms to Sheena that she has been having a sexual affair with Tom Sandoval. And this is when Sheena, according to Rachel, allegedly punched her in the face. Riddle me this, Rachel. Why would Sheena punch you in the face if she had already known that you were having an affair with Tom off camera while you guys are not filming? So it wasn't like a moment for the TV show. Why would Ariana call Sheena to tell her she just found a video of you busting it open for her man if she already knew it was happening off camera, off season, if it was this entire conspiracy to wait until season 11 so that they could have a storyline? That makes zero sense. So based on how your own past legal moves, based on your own past words, you have just yourself debunked your entire case. Because it doesn't make any sense. You can't have it both ways. You can't say Sheena punched me because I told her I was sleeping with Tom, but in the same time say everybody knew and we were all waiting for season 11. So why would she punch you in your face off camera, off season, if everybody knew? Why? And especially if you're saying Ariana said, oh, don't be so handsy in public. We're waiting for season 11 for a storyline. Then why would seeing you busting it open for Tom on his phone trigger Ariana to the point where she is fighting with him, calling production and calling Sheena? Those two scenarios cannot coexist. They cannot coexist. So based on your own version of events, based on your own past lawsuits, you're still lying. Do I think Sheena mushed you or pushed you? Sure. I'm not mad at it. I don't condone it. I'm not saying I condone violence, but I'm also a human being and I understand it. I understand I understand the inclination to knock somebody out who did what you did to her friend and to her. I get the inclination. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences, but I understand the inclination. We're all human beings. If we're being honest, we all understand it. Why would she react that way if everybody knew? And why would she react that way off season, off camera? Why would Ariana react that way off season, off camera? Doesn't make any sense. Ariana lawyers, if you need somebody to help you with your strategy, give me a call because Rachel's lawsuit makes no sense. None. But I want to know what you guys think. As always, put it down below. Do you think that Rachel, again, is just being a pick-me person? She has nothing else, she has nothing else to do. Maybe her podcast isn't popping the way she thought it would. Do you think her lawsuit should be tossed out? I do. Or do you think no, maybe she does have a case. Maybe it was revenge porn and eavesdropping and everything. Let me know what you guys think. I personally think it should be tossed out. I think if she's going to go after anybody, I think she should go after Tom. If it is true that he actually, because again, I don't believe anything she says. He is a liar, but she's also a very scary, deep liar too. So if it is true that he recorded her without her consent, then just go against him privately and say, hey, listen, this is what happened. Let's find a civil way to mediate this and figure out what's what. Other than that, Rachel, go away. Have several seats. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to story number 2, which is Erika Jane losing it all. So Erika Jane loses court battle and faces trial after judge denies motion to dismiss $18 million lawsuit from costume designer. Details are revealed. So I don't like to revel in the demise of anyone because I don't want that karma coming back at me. I firmly believe in this world, what you put out, you get back. So I'm not reveling in this, but I am going to report on it because I do think karma's real. So, like I said, I think that this is the beginning of Erika's problems, not the end. We saw this season, it was her redemption arc, which I was just kind of gagging over, ugh, stop it. It was nothing but one big advertisement for her Vegas residency and her Bet on Blonde spinoff for Bravo and NBC. So basically, her entire storyline was one big commercial advertising for those shows, which I'm pretty sure both Bravo and NBC have a stake in. So that to me was kind of disgusting. Her whole position on, I want the ladies to apologize to me because I won my appeal. And it's like, again, people with money and fame and privilege using the legal system to get over on victims, on people who have less money and less access and less resources. She appealed on just to make a point. She knew she was never going to get the money back, and she knew she was never going to get the earrings back. She only appealed to stick it to the victims. That is disgusting. But like I always said, and I'm going to get to the details of this lawsuit, but like I always said, I think the feds are building a much deeper, bigger, rock solid case against Erika, and I do think that it's only a matter of time before they get her. But let's see what happened with this. So this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Erika Jane has just suffered what is being described as one of her worst court losses. On Tuesday, a judge denied the 52-year-old Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member's request to have a lawsuit filed against her by fashion designer Christopher Sala dismissed, which could ultimately send her to trial. Christopher was arrested and indicted on charges of fraud after being accused of charging $787,000 to Erika's American Express card. Devastating day for Erika Jane. To our surprise, the federal court, in a short opinion, denied her SLAP motion to dismiss Christopher Saula's case, attorney Ronald Richards revealed on Twitter on February 27th. Erika will now face a trial on allegations she falsely got her costume designer charged. Nothing is ever a lock in court. Congrats to Marco. This is one of her worst losses, as she won't be able to delay this trial, and the facts are bad for her. In February of 2023, it was reported that Thomas Girardi, who may have used his connection to Lorenzo Robert Savage III, head of the Los Angeles office of the U.S. Secret Service, to bring charges against Christopher in regard to supposedly unauthorized charges he made to Erika's credit card in exchange for Thomas representing Lorenzo in a separate case. Oof, again, this is why I always said that these fraud people like Thomas Girardi, these quote white collar criminals, but they're just a bunch of thugs running Ponzi schemes and defrauding people. They never work in a vacuum. That's how they are able to do it for so long and at the level that they do it. They have people in their pockets, they're in people's pockets, from, Secret Service to judges to executives to police people to was it the FBI, his son, or something like that. It's just crazy. And that's how they're able to get away with it. If one person is corrupt, they can't do their corruption. People have to be implicit and even complicit to the corruption at this scale. So he got the head of the Los Angeles office of the U.S. Secret Service to do his dirty work, according to this. Christopher denied the charges against him, and ultimately, after plenty of heartache that followed Erika being refunded the money, which was payment for costumes Christopher's company Marco made for the Real Housewives cast member, the charges were dismissed. So basically what they did was they got Christopher, to create all of these costumes and, jewelry and gowns and all of this stuff for her. And then they were like, oh, no, he committed fraud. He didn't have the authority to make all of these charges on here. So we need to get that refunded. And then once they got the refund, they got their money back, then all of a sudden the charges against him were dismissed. You see? So in a statement at the time, the spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in L.A. reacted to a potential mishandling of the situation by the Secret Service, who allegedly investigated the charges without hearing Christopher's side of the story. This is where the corruption comes in. So you are the Secret Service. The Secret Service. And you don't talk to the person who is being accused of the fraud and the crime? Come on now. You got, come on. That's beyond an oversight. That's a choice. We ultimately determined that law enforcement evidence preservation issues undermined our ability to prosecute the case, and the interest of justice supported dismissal, the statement said. Months later, Christopher sued Erika for over $18 million, alleging she and Thomas participated in an extortion scheme against him and his business and ruined his career. After the filing of Christopher's case, Erika's attorney, Evan Borges, responded to his statement. Plaintiffs' claims against Erika are entirely without merit. They always say that. Oh, it's frivolous. It's meritless. Boy, bye. Independent federal prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office made the decision to charge plaintiff with crimes, no one else. The notion that Erika controlled the U.S. government, or for that matter, a Fortune 100 company such as American Express, is fantasy, he stated. It's not fantasy because it's, hello, like the Secret Service said it, like it's not a fantasy. It's what happened. But this is a big blow to Erika. And this is the thing. I think Christopher was smart to go against her and not the U.S. government. Maybe throw in American Express, because the problem is, and I'm a patriot, I love my country, but no system, no institution is perfect. And so I think that it's very scary to sue the US government, even if one of their players, the Secret Service guy, was corrupt. Because they're not going to take that L. So the smartest thing to do is to sue Erika. And at the end of the day, Erika is the one who started the fraud. She's the crux of it. Now, do I think it was her idea? No, I think it was probably Tom Girardi's idea. I think he was like, I'm not paying back the $800,000. That's almost close to $1 million. I'm not paying all of this for your frocks and your gowns and your designers. I know someone at the Secret Service who can make this go away. Now, poor Christopher, now he's out of all of that money because, he's making these charges. He's probably buying, materials and this and that to make all of these gowns and everything. So he's out of all of that money. He's probably had to hire lawyers, not to mention emotional and mental distress. If anybody has gone through anything legal when they are good people, it's very stressful. It's anxiety ridden. It's depression. It's a lot to be a part of any legal battle when you are innocent or the victim and you're fighting for something against someone so big. And then it's reputation. It's not like people understand what happened, but then who are they going to believe? Thomas Girardi and Erika? Or are they going to believe a designer who's like, no, wait a minute, like you're screwing me over? So that's reputation. That's a lot. So cheers to Christopher. Shout out to Marco, his brand. I hope they win. If everything turns out to be true, the allegations, I hope he wins. Do I think he's going to get the 18 million? I hope, because I bet you Erika has it somewhere. I don't believe, and I've never believed for 1 second that Erika is poor or destitute or starting over in her $1 million mansion with her Range Rovers and her Birkin bags. I don't never believe that for 1 second. I think that there are, and then again, this is just my opinion, I think that there are a lot of offshore Swiss bank accounts, even onshore accounts, looking at you, Wells Fargo, that have millions and millions of dollars. Maybe the money has been converted into art. Maybe some of it's been converted into crypto. Maybe some of it's been converted into stocks or shares. But I think the bulk of the money hasn't just disappeared. I think that they have either washed it, laundered it, converted it, hidden it. But I think it's there. And I think Erika knows how to access it. She's just riding it out until she thinks she's been, quote, vindicated enough. And until she thinks that it's further in the past before she really starts dipping into all of it. Because I think the $500,000 Wells Fargo account in Florida that she got, I think that's a drop in the ice bucket of what's really out there. I really do. But I think she's not tapping into the bulk of that money until she thinks the coast is clear. So they need to hire Sutton's financial forensics people that Sutton did for her divorce to find that money. That's what I say. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think the designer has a good case? From everything I've seen, this is fraud. And I do feel really bad for him. And it sucks. It sucks. I've been a victim of fraud in my life. And it's very gut-wrenching and scary and all of that stuff, so my heart goes out to the victims, to all the victims. I hope they get swift vengeance and justice. So that's what I think. But as always, I want to know what you guys think, so put it down below and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to our next story, which is all about how Kyle Richards is ruining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Is it time for her power trip to come to an end? Let's find out. So this is an article from Collider. And let's see what they have to say. And I want to know what you guys think. As we go through the article and I share my thoughts, put it down below. Let me know what you think. I personally think it is kind of time for Kyle to take a bit of a pause. She's spiraling. She's bitter. She's not being honest. I think it might be time for her to like bow out for just like a little bit. Take a beat, Kyle. Take a beat. But let's see what the article says. It says the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 13 has wrapped and the reunion is on the way. Speaking of the reunion, I'm living for it. I love the part 1. We'll do a recap of it later, but so be sure to like and subscribe so you can watch with us. So before the start of season 13, fans were eager to see veteran housewife Kyle Richards address the news of her 26-year marriage ending due to separation from her husband Mauricio Umansky. Similar to Erika Jane's legal troubles with her ex-husband Tom Girardi, Erika faced criticism and scrutiny, leading her to open up about her personal life on the show. In the reality franchise, it's not uncommon for the season cast members to encourage their fellow housewives to share their stories, knowing it will make for compelling television and maintain the appearance of authenticity in reality TV. Despite being aware of this, Kyle Richards remained silent about her marital problems with Mauricio and her rumored romantic relationship with singer Morgan Wade. Veteran housewives like Teresa Giudice, Luann de Lesseps, and Camille Grammer are typically open about when discussing their problems, especially once they become public knowledge. Kyle has never hesitated to reveal other people's issues, but now, when it comes to her struggles, she suddenly becomes tight-lipped and defensive about what information she shares. When did the housewives start acting like authorities and deciding that everyone else's personal lives should be exposed? Even going as far as dropping hints to steer the conversation in that direction. During her appearance on Watch Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Erika stated, "As someone who got eviscerated, I would like to see everybody get the same treatment. Will the reunion be when Kyle steps up to share some truths, or will she be let off the hook?" Now, I don't think Kyle is going to share any truth, but I don't think she's not being let off the hook either. Like, they've been coming for her, but she's still not being honest. Okay? Point number 1. Kyle Richards displays hypocrisy toward her Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member. Kyle's favorite phrase for her fellow housewives is "be honest," with Denise Richards, Kim Richards, Lisa Vanderpump, and Erika Jane have experienced it when it comes to Kyle putting them on the spot about discussing their personal issues. Somehow, the same terminology doesn't apply to her, but she has never had any problem putting other housewives in the hot seat. During season 10 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Denise Richards was under fire for issues regarding her marriage. Kyle had no problem repeatedly telling Denise she should be honest about the rumors. Kyle tells Denise, when things are brought up in the open and put out there, they have to be addressed in this group. 3 seasons later, when Kyle is in the hot seat, she feels like the ladies are not supportive, asking her to reveal what's happening between her and Mauricio's marriage and deciding to separate. I think that is a huge thing with Kyle, her hypocrisy. 100%. It's like she wants to stir the pot. She wants to be the HBIC, but nobody can talk about her life. Nobody can talk about her marriage. Nobody can talk about her husband. And then if you do, you're not being supportive. You're coming at me. I do think it's like, I don't know if it's a personality thing. I don't know if it's like something going on in her head, but it's just very bizarre. But what I mean by that is it's almost like how Kyle treats her sisters. Like, oh, they hate me. They're so mean to me. Everybody wants to like them. And she always plays the victim in her family, where it's like, well, Kyle, you're actually really mean to them. You called Kim an alcoholic. You know, your husband betrayed Rick Hilton in business. Like, you guys have done some shady stuff to your family. It's not like you are just like this perfect person, but she likes to villainize everybody else, but she always has to be the victim. Like, she thinks she's special. And if she gets any type of like normal feedback or suggestion or criticism, she crumbles and she can't handle it. And this is the thing. I agreed with Dorit when Dorit said, "I know your nature and you're a punisher. And if I say anything you don't like, you're going to shut me out." And that's exactly what Kyle did, and that's exactly what Kyle does. And so I think Kyle's gotten kind of bitter, and she's a little angry, and it's not enjoyable to watch. Number 2, Kyle Richards throws relationships under the bus for ratings. Throughout the first season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kyle made a shocking revelation about her sister Kim during the finale, exposing a deep family secret. This revelation that Kim was battling alcoholism subjected her to scrutiny and constant examination in the following seasons. The tensions between the two sisters and their family members escalated, as it was not Kyle's place to disclose such personal information. Kim endured the judgment and sometimes exclusion from her fellow castmates, while Kyle received sympathy and support. This was an incredibly challenging situation for Kim, but viewers truly missed the genuine portrayal of housewives dealing with their real lives issues. Unfortunately, many veteran housewives, including Kyle, now seem to be dictating the direction of their respective shows, deciding what should and shouldn't be addressed. This approach is detrimental to the essence of reality TV, which should authentically represent the lives of each cast member, both the good and the bad. Chef's kiss, I agree 100%. Lisa Vanderpump, another former housewife, had to endure Kyle's insensitivity towards her brother's tragic death in season 9. This unfortunate incident marked the end of their friendship and Lisa's departure from the show. During a difficult period in Lisa's life, Kyle decided to hold her accountable for allegedly revealing Dorit's accusation about turning in a rescue dog to a kill shelter, which became known as Puppygate. It was a season filled with attacks, and Lisa's vulnerability was exploited, even by her once closest friend, who joined in on the accusations that Lisa vehemently denied. As the sole remaining original housewife on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it is evident that Kyle is leveraging her power and believes she should be exempt from scrutiny regarding her own personal issues. If authenticity prevails, then the same rules should apply to everyone. And I agree with that 100%. It should apply to everyone. And another reason why I think she kind of needs to be taken down a peg or two, yes, the hypocrisy, yes, throwing people under the bus for ratings, but also like she's not fun anymore to watch. And I don't mean because she doesn't drink, because I think that's a very dangerous narrative that, oh, you don't drink, you're not fun. I don't believe that. I basically don't drink anymore, and I'm a hoot. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, she's not fun anymore. Like, she's just a downer. She's defensive. She's going after Sutton. She's no longer friends with Dorit. Like, she's going after Crystal. Like, I don't know what Kyle is bringing to the show anymore, because it's okay to be a bone collector. It's okay to be a pot stirrer, but you have to participate in that when it's your turn. Turnabout is fair play. So it's fine to be a pot stirrer. It's fine to do what you got to do. Hold your diamond, get the ratings, do you boo boo. But when it becomes your turn, if you don't participate in sharing what's going on in your life, then that's when we start to disconnect from you and to disconnect from the show. She's also, just like I said, she's not fun to watch. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I don't get enjoyment out of watching her on the show. To be honest with you, I prefer watching Ding Dong Dorit, and that says a lot. That says a lot. I think she's in a bad place. I think that she's not happy, and I think she needs to take some time to really deal with herself. And if she does come back, she needs to come back being open and honest, and she needs to come back with better energy. Because right now it's just Debbie Downer, wah, 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 wah. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. And she's on an island. Like Barbara said, Kyle is afraid of Erika. If anyone, shout out to Barbara. Barbara said, Kyle is afraid of Erika. If anyone else would have made that statement that Erika made on Watch What Happens Live, they would never heard the end of it from Kyle. Right. And that's the thing. Kyle knows she doesn't have any more allies. So it's not that I think, and shout out to Barbara. Hey, sweetheart. And shout out to Chocolate Chunks. Thank you for being a member. JJ Makeup Obsession. Irene. Tay. What's up, sweetheart? Shout out to everybody in the chat box. So it's not that I think she's afraid of Erika. I think that Kyle knows that she doesn't have anybody else. She doesn't have any more allies. She's beefing with Dorit. Her and Garcelle have never been particularly close. She's always beefed with Crystal. She's beefing with Sutton. Anne-Marie was a flop. She doesn't have any more allies. So I agree with you. I think that if Kyle still had allies and still felt that she was, the head BIC in charge, she would have given it to Erika for days. But even she knows she doesn't have anybody else. She doesn't have anybody else. And so I think that, and I also think that her saying, oh, Erika is like a real friend and I can trust her, that was also subliminal digs to Dorit. It's twofold. One, I think that Kyle knows she doesn't have anybody. And two, I think it was her way of jagging Dorit. Because since when would Erika be the one going to Kyle to talk about the divorce, on the season finale? That should have been Dorit. Dorit would have been the one talking to Kyle about it. But it's Erika? Come on now. And now all of a sudden, Erika is so close and she's so real and I can trust her and we're such good friends. Even Erika was like, thank you. But that's not really true. You know what I mean? Even Erika was like, this is weird. And I know you're saying this because you're trying to low-key jab at Dorit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so you had a group of friends and two closest have a falling out. And the third one, who's always with them, the head one is now, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're such a good friend. You're so loyal. You can trust me. I can trust you. You're my bestie in front of the other one. It's like she's trying to jab at her. Do you know what I mean? But I want to know what you guys think. Is it time for Kyle to just bow out? Her time is up. We get it. You just need to kind of like take several seats and let it go, girl. So put it down below. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to our next story. So to me, this is another PR fail, nightmare of them trying to convince us that Kyle and Morgan Wade are actually in a romantic relationship. This to me just screams desperate and thirsty and trying to convince us this is real. And this is a huge fail to me. Okay. So Kyle gets a cowgirl hat tattoo amid rumored romance with country singer Morgan Wade. Yikes. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by this. So everybody, when Kyle gets her new tattoo and it's a cowboy hat, the first thing everybody thinks is, oh, this must be a tattoo for Morgan. Morgan is a country singer. She's a country gal. This must be a tattoo for Morgan. No, what I think is going on, and I'm going to tell you what I think the tattoo is really about, is, like I said before, Morgan and Kyle are in this PR relationship. Morgan's team wanted, the followers, the money, all of that stuff, make Morgan a star. I think Kyle was going through it. She wanted a storyline. She wanted to get Mauricio's attention and all of that, right? And now that Mauricio, I think, is sort of, because I do think the separation was Kyle's idea, but I think to continue the separation is Mauricio's idea. Like, I think that if Kyle had it her way, her and Mo would be back together. And I think that she's now kind of spiraling even more because it's like, wait a minute, I was going through something. I wanted a change in my marriage, but I didn't actually ever want to get divorced. Right? But Mauricio's kind of like, wait a minute, I can quote cheat and not get in trouble and I might be able to like be free. Hey, I'm just going to continue with this separation. Let's like write it on to the cows come home. And I'll get into that. But first, I'm going to tell you what I think this cowboy hat is really about. And I think that they're just using it. And by they, I mean Kyle's PR team and Morgan's PR team to sort of do what they always do. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Kyle and Morgan are together. I think the reason why she got the hat isn't because Morgan is a country singer, but because she's obsessed with that hat store, Kimosabe. You know, that's been her whole personality for years. Prior to Morgan, Kyle was always spotted with a hat. She's always wearing a cowboy hat. She goes to Aspen, she gets these hats. You know, that's the whole spot of the infamous Tequila Gate with Lisa Rinna and Kathy Hilton. You know, she goes and does the hats. She bought Rihanna a hat, you know, an $895 hat in Aspen, you know, at her favorite store. So what I think they're doing is they're running out of fodder. They're running out of stuff that we would care about, right? Like when they tried to separate publicly, when Morgan wiped her whole IG, and when Kyle was wearing the Umansky jacket, and when you know, Kyle was basically like, Morgan's just one chick I text. We're really not that close. She's in a group of friends on Jeff Lewis. They were afraid that they were going to face all this backlash because then everyone's like, oh, are they fighting? Are they no longer together? And Morgan has this upcoming tour with Alanis Morissette and putting out new music. I think the powers that be got scared that as quickly as we made these people into stars, that could easily go south. And I think that they were scared of the backlash. And that's why Morgan was in her Instagram stories being like, we're not fighting. Everything's okay. And then all of a sudden they're spotted together again, you know, spotted at, you know, Watch What Happens Live, and she's touching her butt, and, you know, spotted at dinners and all this stuff, which clearly they called the paparazzi themselves. And so I think they're running out of stunts. They're running out of fodder for us to talk about. So it's like, well, let's go back to the tattoos because that's a whole thing. And so I think Kyle was like, well, I'll get a tattoo of a cowboy hat because I love Kimosabe, and then we can just put it out there. It's because of like the Morgan thing, you know? And to me, this is like, stop playing in our faces again. We're not stupid. Kyle got the tattoo because she loves Kimosabe and she loves being wearing the hat. But the way their publicists will plant the seed in the media is to keep their whole relationship going, you know, speculation, to give Kyle a storyline for next season, to try and get more attention from Mauricio that he's not giving her. It's like, stop. We see through the BS, you know? And I'm sure in a week, Kyle's going to be like, oh my God, no, like this hat had nothing to do with Morgan. It was because I love Kimosabe. Like the press, it's the media. The media is the people making us, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, stop. And then she was on her Amazon Live being like, oh no, like the whole Dumas, because remember there was like the whole thing in Dumas that was like, oh, Kyle and Morgan are going to debut their relationship on the cover of a magazine, some sexy spread or whatever that crap it was. It was like country singer meets reality star going public. It's official. And Kyle on her Amazon Live was like, no, that's not us. That's not true. Like, I don't know who that is, but it isn't us. Now, do I think she's lying or telling the truth? I don't know. Do I think their PR camps planted that in Dumas? Probably. I'm of the mind that 98% of what we see about Kyle and Morgan in the press is planted by Kyle and Morgan's team. Like, honestly, that's what I think. I think that the people calling Backgrid, and Backgrid is the paparazzi that takes the photos of them, is them. So everything we're seeing, oh, the tattoo, oh, the Dumas post, I think it's all their PR teams giving us content, giving us fodder. So now all of a sudden, she has a cowboy hat tattoo. Girl, bye. Mark my words. If somebody asks her about the tattoo, all of a sudden it's going to be because she's obsessed with Kimosabe. And she's always worn hats forever. And it's just been her thing. And she's always worn cowboy hats, which I agree. She has always worn cowboy hats. And I do think it's because of Kimosabe, whatever the hell the store is called. But I think she strategically got that. And I think her PR people strategically planted that she gets a cowgirl hat tattoo and connecting it to Morgan being a country singer. You get it? It's enough plausible deniability, but it's giving us fodder. It's giving us content. So that's what I think is going on with them. But let's go on to a little bit more of the nitty gritty and what Kyle has to say. So this is from Reality Blurb. It says Kyle Richards is explaining why she waited to discuss her separation from Mauricio Umansky until the end of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 13. During an appearance earlier this week, after Mauricio was seen chatting about their split with their daughters in the trailer for the second season of the Netflix series Buying Beverly Hills, Kyle shared why she didn't open up about their breakup earlier, as she also revealed whether she and Mauricio have spoken about moving into new homes and dating other people. The whole thing has been really hard, Kyle admitted, of sharing her marital hardships on camera during a February 29th appearance on Amazon Live. According to Kyle, she didn't open up about her marriage issues with Mauricio earlier in the season because the alleged leaked story wasn't shared with people until after filming wrapped. We were done filming and the story came out, and then the Netflix cameras happened to be in Aspen, so they ended up filming us talking about it, she revealed, giving a nod to scenes that will be featured on Buying Beverly Hills Season 2. Obviously, Bravo's been following my life for 13 years. It's not like we can film that scene and then I don't share it with the viewers of the Housewives. We ended up shooting both of those scenes for Buying Beverly Hills and The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after we were all wrapped. Nearly a year after their split, Kyle said that she and Mauricio have talked about moving out but are still living together. That's a conversation that's happening. We're fortunate that we don't fight and we get along, so it's actually oddly work, she explained. As for whether or not they've begun dating other people, Kyle said that's a big question. We're allowed to. We're allowed to do what we want. When asked about Brandi Glanville's recent allegations against Andy Cohen, who she accused of sexual harassment, Kyle didn't want to say much. I don't want to comment on that because I don't want to deal with the aftermath of that. I think we're all responsible for what we do. I can just say to you, from my experience in all of these years, I've never been forced to drink, told to drink, nothing ever, she stated. Regarding her other former co-star Lisa Vanderpump, Kyle confessed to feeling like there is a chance they'd reconcile. I don't know. I've never say never about anything. This last year has taught me never say never, she teased. Now, this is the thing. I think, and again, this is just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. I think Kyle desperately wants Mauricio back. And I think that Mauricio is the one who wants to continue the separation at this point. That's just what my gut says. I think that Kyle wants to be friends with Lisa Vanderpump again. I think she's really, really missing her. Like, did you notice how, sorry if my voice went out. Did you notice how Kyle has brought Lisa Vanderpump up like a half a dozen times? You know, at the reunion, she's talking about LVP. At the SoFi white party, she's talking about LVP and all of that stuff. You know, she got, Ken, the designer or the event planner on. I think she's really, really missing Lisa Vanderpump. You know, she's doing impressions of her and all of that stuff. But the thing is, Kyle, the way you get a friendship back isn't by, making jokes and doing all that stuff. It's by picking up the phone and saying, hey, listen, I really miss you. And this is where I messed up in the friendship. I'm not asking anything of you. I'm just taking accountability of where I went wrong. And I want to see if you're open to talking. That's how you get a friend back, or at least start the process of repairing a friendship. Because I think Kyle desperately misses Lisa Vanderpump. That's why she keeps bringing her up. It's like your friend who keeps talking about their ex from 2 years ago, and he's like married with a kid now, but she's like still talking about him. And you're like, girl, you need to move on. Like, just go ahead and block him so you can move on with your life. That's what it's giving. Like, Kyle gets a twinkle in her eye, and like the way she talks about Lisa Vanderpump, it's like she misses like an old boyfriend that she like wants to like check his Instagram, to see if he's still in a relationship, going to Facebook, checking the status if people are on Facebook anymore. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think she desperately misses LVP, and she wants her back, and I think she wants Mauricio back. But I think Mauricio is kind of like, girl, you opened the gate and I'm busting wide through it. You opened the gate. So we'll see what happens with that. I always thought that they would get back together. I still think that. I don't know why I still think that, but I do. Like, down the line, I do. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows? I never want a family to break up, but I do want people to be happy. Okay. So as she faced speculation over her marriage in mid-season 13, newbie Anna Marie, and speaking of it, she does pronounce her name Anna Marie. I had this troll in my comments a little bit back was like, I can't listen to someone who doesn't know how to pronounce her name. It's Anne Marie. And I was like, I'm pretty sure she pronounces it Anna Marie. And she does. She does. It's Anna Marie. So hi troll. Thank you for commenting. It wasn't any of my sweet candy canes. Anyway, Anna Marie Wiley, 41, faced tons of backlash from fans who didn't appreciate her many questions about Sutton's esophagus. I always feel so bad when things don't go well for a new housewife, Kyle said in response. It's hard coming into this. When I came onto the show, we were all new. I say show, but it's our lives with cameras. So coming into that, I don't even know what it must feel like after all these years of being established. Kyle, shut up, because you set Anna Marie up for failure. First of all, you got on the show lying, talking about she's your new friend. She wasn't your new friend. You said on Jeff Lewis, you met the chick one time, and because Bravo was hiring for diversity, in my opinion, you said, oh, I met a black chick. Her name's Anna Marie. Let's see if we can bring her on. That's kind of what I think went. That's kind of what I think happened. You know, that's just what I do. That's just how I think it went. And then you put a battery in her back, being like, oh, go after Sutton, go after Crystal, be my mouthpiece, and you'll be protected on the show. And Anna Marie quickly realized that Kyle is nobody's friend. And we saw it on the show, them talking about how Anna Marie was going to go after Sutton about the esophagus. And Kyle was like laughing and being like, yeah, like we saw the scene. So it really did happen. So am I a fan of Anna Marie? No. But do I think she was set up to fail given her whole Kyle situation? Yeah. I think if she would have went in being herself, then maybe she would have been more likable. Maybe she would have made better connections with the women, but she went in clearly as Kyle's mouthpiece and that did not work out for her. Watching the reunion, I did feel a lot of sadness and empathy for her, given that her mother was dealing with like a tumor or cancer, one of the two, I can't remember. And then her mom had passed away. And you could tell at the reunion, like Anna Marie, like wasn't there. I think she's dealing with a lot. She's dealing with her husband allegations. She's dealing with the death of her mother. And she's looking like a damn fool on national television. So she is dealing with a lot. And I do think a lot of her problems, it's like a tick. It's like I think there's something not, like all the cylinders aren't firing. Like all the syntaxes aren't connecting. Like there's something amiss with her. And so I do feel bad for her in that sense, because I do think something's a little off. And I mean that respectfully. Like I really do. I really do. I just think there's something, like all the ships aren't coming into the dock at the same time. Like something's off. And so I think she was kind of set up to fail. I think Anna Marie doesn't need to come back, not just because I don't vibe with her as a housewife, but as a human and as a woman, or just as a human, I guess. Oh, no, we're women, as a woman too. I want her to really take care of herself. I really do. I think she's not in a good way. I really want her to look after her own health, mentally and physically. And I want her to look after her children. Because I think the death of her mother, coupled with the allegations against her husband, that has to be a pretty, pretty dark place. So I think she needs to take care of herself first and to get to a place where she can really take care of her children. Because that can't be a fun conversation to have. You know what I'm saying? So I hope she gets help, and she just needs, I don't know. I don't think she needs to be on our screen. Let's put it that way. But Kyle, in my opinion, is dead wrong. You set that girl up for failure. And then once she failed, you were like, I don't know that girl. You were like, I don't know her. Who that? Okay. Looking ahead to the future with Bravo, Kyle admitted she's unsure of a season 14 return. I never know. One day I will leave. I just don't know right now. I have so much on my plate that I can't think about that at this moment, she noted. That said, she does have some people she'd like to see on season 14. Teddy Mellencamp. People want to see my sister Kim. I love Eileen. Lisa Rinna was great on the show, she said. As for the current cast, Kyle said they talk off the show as well as on. I'm supposed to have dinner with Erika soon, and actually Rinna also, she revealed. Now, I got a couple of things to say about that one. The reason why Kyle wants Teddy back is because she needs a loyal mouthpiece who will never defy her. We don't want Teddy back. I wouldn't mind having Kim back. I wouldn't mind having Eileen back. Lisa Rinna needs to stay on pause. The reason why I think she's getting dinner with Erika, and then maybe Rinna too, she's getting dinner with Erika because she doesn't have anybody else, so she has to keep Erika as an ally. I think that it's like the lesser of two evils in her mind, because she clearly doesn't like Dorit for a myriad of reasons what's going on with it. I'm going to do a deep dive into the demise of their friendship as well, but she doesn't have anybody. She doesn't rock with Garcelle or Sutton or Crystal. Anna Marie is a one and done flop. She's beefing with Dorit. She doesn't have anybody else. So she has to anchor with Erika because she needs someone on the show. And I have said this and I stand by it. My gut. Remember when in the leaked text messages that Dorit showed to production for the reunion? And Kyle says, and again, Kyle not being very emotionally intelligent, because I'm going to tell you what Kyle did, and I'm going to tell you what an emotionally intelligent person actually does. So Kyle's like, I heard you said something about me, and I can't say what it is or who said it, but it really, really hurt me, and I haven't been able to say anything, blah, 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 blah. I think Lisa Rinna told Kyle whatever it was that her and Dorit were talking trash about Kyle. Maybe Dorit did it in a text. Maybe she did it in a DM. Maybe it was just verbal. But I think Lisa Rinna is still so burnt and mad that she got fired. I think she's trying to do anything she can to get back on the show. I think it was Rinna who told Kyle what Dorit allegedly said or didn't say. An emotionally immature person would take what that person said as the gospel truth, be so hurt and in their feelings about it, and ruin a friendship over it. Now, do I think that's the only reason why Kyle stopped messing with Dorit? No. Do I think she used it as an excuse because she wanted reasons to be mad at Dorit instead of just saying, Dorit, I'm mad at you because you've been smelling my husband and you're looking overly familiar and the world is laughing, thinking that you're having sex with my husband, and that's why I can't look at you anymore? But instead of saying that, I'm going to use every other excuse in the book. What an emotionally intelligent person does is say, oh, wow, thank you for this information. And they either disregard it and they kind of look at that person and go, why did you tell me this? What is your agenda? Or they go to that person who is their good girlfriend and say, hey, Lisa Rinna just said you said this. She sent me this screenshot, or here are the receipts, or she told me you said this to her. Let's talk about it. Is this true? Why is it true? Because you can't take anybody's word about anything for the gospel truth. You can't. You have to think about, why are you saying this? Why are you wanting to put a ridge between us, you know? And then also, usually when people come to you and they're like, oh, this person was talking about you, well, they were talking about you too. Unless they just sat there and said nothing. Or did they say, hey, that's my friend, stop talking crap about my friend? If not, they were participating and talking about you too. But it's just mad day between that person and the other person that now they want to bring this to you. I think Kyle just wanted reasons to be mad at Dorit. You know, she just wanted reasons to be mad at her. So there's that. Anyway, and her Bravo relationships aren't limited to the Beverly Hills cast. Kyle has also stayed in touch with other Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip co-stars. She texts and sees Kenya when she's here. I love Kenya. Luann and I, and Ramona will text me if she's in Aspen. Well, good for you, Kyle. Do you want a cookie that you hang out with Kenya, Luann, and Ramona? Yikes. I think I think Kyle could take a pause. I would be okay with Kyle taking a pause. Unless she comes back really ready to be open and honest. Other than that, I'm okay with her kind of sitting down and having several seats for a bit. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about Kyle and this hat tattoo? Are you like me and you're like, she got it because she's always worn hats and it's really because of her love of Kimo Sabe, but their PR team is going to spin it like she got the hat from Morgan for content, for fodder, for headlines. You see what I'm saying? And then what do you think about Kyle and Mauricio? Do you think they really will divorce? I think I'm torn at this part. I'm not 100% sure anymore. Because now I feel like he is actually more checked out of the marriage than she is. And that's always a dangerous place to be when you're married to someone. So who knows? And do you think Kyle and Morgan are real, or do you think it's a fake relationship? So go ahead and let me know what you guys think and put it down below. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to our next story. Let's do Andy Cohen and Leah McSweeney. Okay. So Andy Cohen denies claims in Real Housewives of New York star Leah McSweeney's lawsuit. They are completely false. So let's break it down. This is in Us Weekly. According to court documents obtained by The Hollywood Reporter, Leah named Bravo, NBC Universal production house Shed Media U, and producers John Paparazzo, Lisa Shannon, and Darren Ward in her Tuesday, February 27th filing. In the suit, the reality star claims the network intentionally played into her struggle with alcoholism. The lawsuit also targets Andy Cohen, accusing him of playing favorites with those who party with him. Cohen engaged in nose candy use with housewives and other Bravo celebrities that he employs, and rewards housewives with whom he uses nose candy with more favorable treatment and edits, the doc states per the outlet. In the suit, McSweeney says Bravo had a rotted workplace culture that uniquely depended on pressuring its employees to consume alcohol. She claims she told producers before her first season that she'd been sober for 30 days and was working to maintain her sobriety, but was pressured to drink all 3 seasons she appeared on the show, and alleges producers retaliated against her when she wanted to stay sober and intentionally failed to provide reasonable accommodations that would aid her effort to stay sober and able to perform. I'm going to stop there. Leah, shut up and go home. Again, frivolous lawsuit. I am so sick and tired of these entitled reality stars, celebrities, whatever the hell you want to call them, using our legal system for 15 minutes of fame and a money grab. This ain't it, Leah. Do I think Andy Cohen has favorites? 100%. Is it based on who he does or does not allegedly do nose candy with? Doubtful. Very, very doubtful. I think he just has his favorites. Do I think that the producers and the culture of the producers pressure you or force you to drink? To be honest with you, no. I think that you may think you have to do that, but that doesn't mean that that's actually what is going on. And we've had all these people come out to support Andy, from Luann. She's like, I've been sober and I never got pressured to drink. And then also comes to the point of your own accountability. If you are an alcoholic and if you need to be sober or you're addicted to something, don't put yourself in situations where you feel pressure to drink. Being on reality TV is not your only option for livelihood. Leah came out herself. She said she makes more money on fans only than she ever made on the Housewives. So go do that, boo-boo. You have to start taking personal accountability. If you're sober, don't go into a bar. Duh. And then don't be like, the bartender pressured me to drink. Well, you're at a bar. They're doing their job. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. And she's kind of pulling a Nene with this. Like, oh, Andy Cohen does nose candy. Now, I'm not defending Andy Cohen because I do think his, behavior is inappropriate and questionable. However, do I think it merits Leah McSweeney's lawsuit? I don't. There just comes a point where you have to be accountable for yourself. And also, again, it's giving Nene and it's giving Rachel from Vanderpump Rules, who's now also suing, as we know. It's giving that because it's like, when you're not in favor, when you're no longer being offered roles, then all of a sudden it's a toxic workplace that you now feel so violated that you want to sue them. But if they had offered you a role back, you would have been happily back in your role. You can't have it both ways. It can't be so horrible that it's affecting your sobriety. But if they said, "Hey, Leah, do you want to come on the?" I bet you, if they said, "Leah, come join the reboot of New York," she would have been right there on New York. And the reason why I can say that is because she was right there on Ultimate Girls Trip. You knew what it was about. You knew the housewives. You know reality TV. Why did you take Ultimate Girls Trip? Oh, that's right, because you made $250K for a week's worth where all you did was complain about your cramps. So shut up, Leah. I can't. While filming abroad in Thailand, Leah claims that her rights were violated when she was not allowed to seek care for her addiction issues and was denied proper transportation to AA meetings while filming after being told attending would not be a problem. She also claims she was mentally manipulated to draw better ratings. You were boring as hell, Leah. Now, them not providing transportation to AA, okay, on that one. If you said, I need transportation to AA while we are on location, and they said, yeah, we'll give you transportation, and they didn't, I'm with you on that one. That's messed up. If they need to provide you transportation to your AA meetings, if you were told that. Now, I don't know if I believe Leah, because she seems like a liar to me and an opportunist. So I don't know if that's true. But if it is true, that part I agree. If I say, hey, job, you need me on location, I'm an alcoholic, I need to go to my AA meetings, can you provide transportation? And they say, cool, then they need to provide the transportation. So on that part, I agree if that is actually true, because I don't know what is true or not with Leah. Leah joined the Roni cast in 2019 for 2 seasons, followed by Peacock's 3rd season of The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, which filmed in 2022 and aired 1 year later. So if you're doing 2 years of a show and then a 3rd season of a show, so you did 3 seasons of reality TV? No. It's on you, Leah. It's on you. On Tuesday, the Bravo celebrity took to social media to open up about the lawsuit, calling it a story she never thought she would be telling. In fact, I was petrified to speak on it, and I was warned not to, she wrote via Instagram hours after the suit was filed. Sorry, you guys. Sorry about that. Your favorite Bravo shows are run by people who create a dangerous work environment, encourage substance abuse to artificially create drama, and cynically prey on vulnerabilities of their employees. She continued, there's so much more that comes out once the people involved are questioned under oath. Today, I'm taking back my reality. The reckless and diabolical way in which the people at the top drool over the mishaps and misfortunes of the women, including myself, are disturbing. It's a workplace culture where toxicity, alcoholism, and pain are not only expected, but encouraged and facilitated. That is something I most definitely did not sign up for, nor would I ever endorse. Leah, that's actually exactly what you did sign up for. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So what are you talking about? Leah noted there is nothing more important than her sobriety, adding that without it, she risks losing everything. I have been very transparent about my addiction and recovery, she continued. However, there are personal things in the lawsuit that I never want to disclose for fear of being judged and shamed. But I'm at a point in my life now where I feel strong enough to withstand whatever may come my way. Girl. Leah's lawsuit comes 1 week after alum Brandy Glanville made sexual harassment claims against Andy. Glanville's legal team sent a letter to NBC Universal, Shed Media, and Shed's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, claiming that Andy told Glanville that he wanted to sleep with another Bravo star while thinking of her. According to the note, Cohen allegedly invited Brandy to watch him engage in sex via FaceTime. The letter also claimed that Glanville felt trapped and disgusted by Andy's abuse of power, as he was her boss at the time. Cohen subsequently responded to Glanville claims, claiming that he and Below Deck star Kate Chastain were joking when they sent the video in question. It was an absolute mint and jest, and Brandy's response clearly communicated she was in on the joke. He wrote via Twitter on February 22nd. That said, it was totally inappropriate, and I apologize. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. Again, the problem is two things can be true at the same time. Can it be true that perhaps there is a pressure, whether it is an actual pressure, and what I mean by actual, it's like the producers are saying, if you don't drink, you'll be fired, versus a perceived pressure where someone in their own mind thinks, if I don't flip a table, fight somebody, get blackout drunk, I won't be good TV, I won't bring the drama, and I'll be fired. Both things can, is there a perceived pressure to create a dramatic, at times toxic and violent environment on reality TV? That I would say yes. I do think that there is a perceived pressure. People like, oh, this person's iconic. They did this like crazy thing and she blah, da, 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 like all the time. But that doesn't mean that there's an actual pressure. And if you're going to sue someone, you need to prove actual pressure, not just in your mind pressure. Also, can it be true that Leah is just trying to get a payday because she knows she's no longer in favor at Bravo and probably won't be asked back for more shows? I think all those things are true. I think there is a perceived pressure to perform, but that doesn't mean there's an actual pressure. And I do think that Leah is only suing Bravo and Andy and all these other people because she wants a payday, because she knows that, well, if I sue them and lose, oh well, they're not hiring me anyway. But if I sue them and win, then I got a bag. That's where I think Leah's at with this. But I don't believe the allegations against Andy that the people he parties with nose candies are the people that he favors. Because Andy favors Candy Burris. Candy Burris doesn't even drink. So I don't think that there's a correlation between the two of those things. Is there favoritism? Yes. Is it obvious? Yes. He has his favorites at the reunion. He has the favorites that he hangs out with. But I don't think that they are his favorites because of the reasons that she's saying. Or that if you don't do this with Andy, then somehow you are going to be retaliated against. That to me doesn't make any sense. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that you're going to be retaliated against with Bravo and NBC if you're not doing nose candy with Andy Cohen. That doesn't make any sense either. Do I think Andy has been sloppy and he needs to clean it up? Yes. Do I think Andy is from a very older school where not just in entertainment, but like in finance and the medical field and a lot of in business, it's been a lot of, you got to schmooze with the bosses, you got to the good old boys club, you have to go for drinks, you have to go play golf, you have to do this, whatever. You have to schmooze, with the boss. I do think that there is this, I'm not saying it's a right thing. I'm just saying it is a part of society and culture where people do schmooze with the boss for a favor, for whatever the case is, for promotions, for whatever it is. I think Andy comes from, I don't know how old he is, but I think he might come from an older school. And again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's a lot of times how culture is, that they don't see anything wrong with after hours kind of smoozing, having parties, having inside jokes, doing nose candy, drinking and taking shots. Like this happens across all industries. All industries. This happens all the time. I'm not saying it's right. But what I don't think it is that if you don't do this with Andy, then somehow it's a detriment to you. And that's what I think the crux of her lawsuit has to hang on, and that's why I think she's full of it. I think she's full of it. I think she's mad that they don't mess with her anymore, and she's looking for a payout. I never liked Leah from day one. I think she's very fake. I think she's very phony. I don't think we ever saw the real Leah. I think she was a representative on the show. I think she came on with an agenda. She was going to be sex positive. She was going to be this liberal girl doing it, where I think behind the scenes, I think she's actually very conservative. I'm not going to get too political, but you know what I mean. And I think that her whole "I'm going to convert to Judaism" was a lie storyline. I never really rocked with Leah. I think she wasn't the right person to cast for the show. She never fit with the girls. Never fit with, like, why would you put Leah and Ramona and Luann and Sonia together? That doesn't even make any sense. She would have been a better fit. I don't think she's a fit in general, but she would have been a better, more logical fit for the reboot with the new girls if she, as a newbie. I don't know why they ever cast her with the older cast. Never made any sense. There's a lot of people on Bravo who either don't drink or used to drink, but they don't drink now. Lala, DJ James Kennedy. Candy doesn't drink. Who else doesn't drink? What's Shep? On Southern Charm. Andy was being like, maybe you need to like check your drinking and maybe get some help for that. He was encouraging him not to drink. So it's like, I don't think that her case has any merit. She just needs to go away. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. I think Andy needs to clean it up a bit and not be so sloppy with it. Like, have better boundaries, understand it's 2024, and that sort of good old boys mentality of, I can drink with my employees and I can say sexually inappropriate things to them, and it's ha ha, wink wink, it's a nudge, everybody's in on the joke. Because at the end of the day, what he did was inappropriate. It is inappropriate for your boss to be wasted. I'm talking about Brandy, to be wasted and to FaceTime you and say, I want to have sex with this other employee while you watch. Or while you watch and I'm thinking of you. That is inappropriate. But do I think Brandy actually felt disgusted and pressured and like so harassed by it? No, I don't. So I do think that he needs to clean it up a bit, have better boundaries. Do that with John Mayer and your friends. Do that with Anderson Cooper. Don't do that with people who you employ. Get new friends. Have better boundaries. But I think the lawsuits are taking it too far. And it's also frivolous because if Brandy or Nene or Leah or Rachel were still giving opportunities by Bravo, I don't think that they would be suing them. And that to me makes it opportunist and disingenuous. So that's kind of where I land with it. But I want to know what you guys think. So as always, put it down below. Virgo Queen says, I kind of feel bad for Andy. I agree 100% because there's a difference between doing something that's inappropriate, sure, and doing something that is actually abusive. There's levels to it. There's nuances to it, where I don't think Andy Cohen has ever been abusive with the ladies, where they really truly feel I'm sexually harassed, and if I don't do this, my job's on the line and blah. I don't believe that for a second. Has he been inappropriate? Yeah. He admitted it. He said it wasn't appropriate, and I'm sorry. He admitted it. But there's a difference between somebody being inappropriate versus somebody actually being predatorial. And for any of these lawsuits to have basis, he has to be predatorial. And I'm not saying I'm defending Andy Cohen. I'm just saying what my thoughts are. I've never gotten that Andy Cohen is predator. You know what I mean? He's not like a Weinstein. He's not like a Matt Lauer. He's not like, you know what I'm saying? He's not like, it's like, come on now. I've never gotten the sense that Andy Cohen is a predator where people truly felt sick or disgusted or in danger or pressured. I think he's been sloppy and inappropriate, but he hasn't been abusive or predatorial. And that's what pisses me off with people who do these types of lawsuits, because the true people who have been abused, who have been victims of workplace predators, who have been victims of true sexual harassment, it's harder for them to then tell. It's harder for them to sue. It's harder for them to get their justice, because all we're looking at is a bunch of bitter, washed up chicks who are trying to get a bag from Bravo. And that's where I stand with it. And it's really, really sad, because they're making it harder for people who have to wake up every day 9 to 5 and go to a job and grit their teeth and bear it because they need to put food on their table. Now, I'm not saying that Leah and her family and Brandy and Nene and all these people don't need to eat. They do. But you don't have to be on reality TV, sweetheart. There are some people who, if they're living paycheck to paycheck. You see what I'm saying? There are true people who have to go to their job. Maybe they're looking for something else, but they have to get their job, and they really are going through predatory, abusive things. Like Andy Cohen calling you wasted, like, Brandy, shut up. Like, stop. There are some people who are truly being harassed and abused and preyed on, who have no choice but to work, who have no choice but to grin and bear it, you know? And it makes it so much harder for those people to get the help and the resources and the support and be believed. So that's what pisses me off about these women. And that's why I have no problem calling them bitter Betties, because that's what they are. They're bitter. Because I promise you, if Bravo called them today and said, hey, you want to do a show? I bet you all of them would say yes. All of them would say yes. It's ridiculous. Anyway, as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, you guys, I'm going to give my voice a break, and I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat with me. And in the meantime, let's go through some of your candy cane questions and comments. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, Tijno